In 2002, after spending 20 years living in the United States, I returned home to the Middle East. Upon my return, I faced 3 distinct situations that I will never forget. The first took place when I arrived at the airport. While I was waiting for my luggage, the person next to me decided to light a cigarette and blow the smoke in my face. When I reminded him that smoking was prohibited in airports, his reaction was far more offensive than the smoke that polluted my lungs. The next situation took place when I was walking on a service road next to one of the most prestigious streets in my home country. One of the cars passing by threw their fast food garbage out into the middle of the street. I gestured to them with disappointment, and again, the response far exceeded the vulgarity of the act itself. The third event took place when I went with some friends on a fishing trip. Some of the people on the boat began littering the sea with empty soft drinks and juice bottles. They were all highly educated, which bewildered me even further. When I condemned their act and pointed out the dangers that they posed to their aquatic life, they responded with sarcasm and indifference. In all 3 of these situations, the environment was poisoned. The smoker polluted the air. Those who littered the street contaminated the earth. And my friends who threw their cans into the sea polluted the water. What links these irresponsible acts? And why do these people fail to see the effects they have on the environment? I believe they fail to realize the effects of their acts because they see them through the eyes of their internal ego. The ego perceives itself to be separate from all others and does not realize that the universe is interconnected. The consequence of anything we do will show up sooner or later. American factories alone emit 3 million tons of toxic chemicals annually. The Los Angeles airport produces 800,000 tons of carbon dioxide each month. This toxic pollution brings about acid rain, which negatively affects agriculture, animals, and fish. More damage has occurred from acid rain in the past 40 years than in the previous 2,500 years. Air pollution travels from one place to another with the movement of the wind. Polluted air in China travels to the United States of America in only 5 days. This could change the weather, interrupt cloud formations, or even halt rainfall. As for land pollution, contamination of the soil affects its basic chemical, natural, and organic properties, changing its composition to negatively affect the lives of all who live on Earth's surface. The Environmental Protection Agency has determined that the US alone produces more than 256 million tons of dangerous waste each year. Pollution of our water is the worst of all. Only 3% of the total surface of Earth is fresh water. It suffers from substantial deterioration in its quality and usefulness. 6 billion kilograms of waste, primarily plastic, are disposed of every year into our ocean. For every million tons of transported petroleum, 1 ton spills into the sea. In 1989, in the famous Exxon oil spill, nearly 2,000 kilometers were contaminated off the Alaskan shoreline. This pollution killed more than 500,000 seabirds and other animals. It is not just sea life that suffers. 15 million children under the age of 5 die each year from illness related to water pollution. And more than 1 billion people around the world cannot obtain clean water. I then examined the state of pollution in the Arab and Islamic world. I found a report conducted by the World Health Organization in 2011 on air pollution. I was alarmed to find that among the 10 nations with the worst air pollution, 6 of them were Arab and Islamic nations. In 2011, the Human Development Index indicated that Arab nations suffer from an extreme scarcity of water. This scarcity is worsened by excessive water waste. Chemical pollution, industrial waste, water desalination plants, oil spills, and inadequate sewage systems all lead to the formation of swamps and the spreading of illness and disease. Humans have destroyed the planet on which we live. Chemicals pollute our water and our food and lead to cancer and disease. Biological contamination from untreated sewers pollutes our land and water. And radiation penetrates our soil, our water, and our air. I ask myself, if all of this is not a dysfunctional collective mind, then what shall we call it? The ugliness of the pollution we see around us is but a reflection of the ugliness inside us, a manifestation of psychological, social, behavioral, and ethical dysfunction. I reflected on the words of Almighty God. Corruption has appeared throughout the land and sea by the hands of people. May He let them taste part of what they have done, so that they may return to righteousness. The main culprit is the enemy of man, the ego within us, the ego with its greed, love of power, and selfishness. I searched for a solution. Is there a way to mend the land, sea, and air we have harmed? Yes, there is. We can recycle. We can limit the rate of air pollution. We can move our factories far away from populated areas, protect our drinking water, properly dispose of our waste, and take many other measures. But why then do we not enact these measures globally? What stops us from saving ourselves from destruction and ruin? Instead of dreaming of finding another planet to live on, why not mend the home we have? It is the ego. The ego stands between us and salvation. I realized that the relation of the ego to the environment is that of depletion and exploitation, not of care and conservation. The ego does not realize that through its destruction of the environment, it only destroys itself. The greatest achievement for humanity in this day and age is ultimately not in science, art, or technology, but in recognizing the dysfunction in our collective mind. This dysfunction has unfortunately accelerated its destructive effect on Earth because of the rapid progress in science and technology. A progress which can be rightly called intelligence in the service of madness. I went back to God's saying in the Holy Quran, may He let them taste part of what they have done, so that they may return to righteousness. And if we look at the statistics of illness, cancers, and the corruption in our earth, water, and air, we will begin to realize what we have done to ourselves. As for the way back to sanity, it will only happen through weakening and exposing the games played by the devious ego.